You ever just stare at something on your to-do list knowing you absolutely have to do it, but you feel, well, physically unable to start? It's this paralyzing feeling, right? And we almost always beat ourselves up over it. We call it laziness, but what if I told you it's not a character flaw at all? Let's get into this because your brain is running a program you might not even know exists.
Okay, let's just get one thing straight, right from the get-go. You are not lazy. That feeling of being stuck, that complete inability to just begin, that's not a lack of discipline. It's actually an emotional defense mechanism. It's a kind of psychological self-preservation that's just gone a little haywire.
So to really get to the bottom of this, we have to completely tear down what I like to call the laziness lie. See, trying to force yourself to start something with sheer willpower, it's like trying to open a locked door by just running at it, full speed, over and over again. It's just the wrong tool for the job. You just end up exhausted, bruised, and still on the wrong side of that door.
The real culprit here is a concept from psychology called emotional dysregulation. Now, I know it sounds super complicated, but it's actually pretty simple. It just means that when your brain thinks a task is going to cause stress or frustration or even boredom, it can't handle that negative feeling. So instead of dealing with it, it just slams on the brakes. You see, procrastination was never a time management problem. It's an emotion management problem.
Just think about that big, intimidating project sitting on your desk. Your brain literally perceives it as a threat, like on the same level as a predator out in the wild. It triggers a fight or flight response, and procrastination, that becomes its shield. The crazy part is, your brain genuinely thinks it's protecting you from some short-term discomfort. But what it's actually doing is creating a much bigger, much more painful problem for you down the line.
And this leads us straight into this fascinating conflict happening inside your head, what we'll call the pain paradox. Every single time you procrastinate, you're making a choice between two very, very different types of pain, and you probably don't even realize you're making it. And that's the trick, isn't it? That's the little sleight of hand your mind plays on you every single time. It convinces you to trade just a few minutes of friction, that initial discomfort, for days or even weeks of that low-grade, humming long-term anxiety. It's a terrible deal, but it's a deal we make with ourselves all the time because that immediate relief of not starting feels so good in the moment.
So here's the choice, laid out plain and simple. On one side, you've got the pain that ends. This is just the initial friction, right? The discomfort of the first 5 minutes of getting going. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but it's temporary and it leads to action and progress. But on the other side, you've got the pain that endures. And that's that slow burn of guilt and resentment and all that mounting stress that comes from doing nothing. Your brain chooses the right column to avoid the left one, and in doing so, it traps you in this awful cycle of anxiety.
So, just for a second, stop. Take a breath, look up from whatever you're doing. Let's just try to break this pattern right now. I really want you to think about this. The person you're going to be in a week or a month, are they going to thank you for avoiding this task today? Or are they going to be the one dealing with the fallout, the extra stress, and the regret you are literally creating for them in this exact moment? Every time you put something off, you're not just delaying a task, you're forcing a burden onto your future self.
Okay, so how do we break this cycle? How do we actually bypass this faulty threat detector in our brains? Well, the answer isn't some huge surge of motivation. It's way simpler. It's a tactical little workflow I call the 5-minute reset. This is your magic number, 300. That's how many seconds are in 5 minutes. It's nothing, right? It's the length of one song on the radio. It's the time it takes to make a quick cup of coffee. The commitment is so tiny, so insignificant that it feels almost ridiculous. And that, right there, is precisely the point.
So here's how it works. You don't commit to finishing the task. You don't even commit to making good progress. You only commit to working on it for 300 seconds. That's it. By doing this, you lower the task's threat level to practically zero. Your brain's alarm system doesn't even bother going off because the stakes are so ridiculously low. This tiny action forces your brain to engage with the task and realize, oh, hey, this isn't actually dangerous. We're fine.
Now that little 5-minute action is more than just a trick to get you started. It's actually the key that unlocks everything else. We have this completely backward idea that we need to feel motivated or confident before we can act. But the reality is, it's the exact opposite. You cannot think your way into feeling capable. You can't read your way into it, and you certainly can't wait around for it to just show up. The only path to getting better at something, to developing actual skill and competence, is by doing the thing, even if you do it poorly at first.
Action is the raw material that competence is built from. And here it is, the final piece of the puzzle. Confidence isn't the fuel you need to start the engine. It's the exhaust. It's the byproduct of taking action, of gaining that competence, and of proving to yourself bit by bit that you can do it. You do the work, you see the result, and then confidence shows up to the party. It never, ever happens the other way around.
So, let's just do a quick recap. First, and most importantly, stop calling yourself lazy. Procrastination is your brain's flawed attempt to protect you from negative feelings. Second, get that your brain is tricking you into choosing the enduring pain of anxiety over the brief pain of starting. Third, use that 5-minute reset. Make the task so small it flies right under your brain's threat radar. And finally, always remember, action builds competence, and competence is what creates real, lasting confidence.
So I'll leave you with this one question. Don't think about tomorrow. Don't even think about the next hour. Think about right now. What is that one thing you've been avoiding that you can give just 300 seconds to? Set a timer and just start. You might be really surprised at what happens next.